this year, as managing editor, I was overseeing our coverage of the Palestine Solidarity encampment and the ensuing police sweep, and that was particularly challenging because I had never been faced with a major news event like that before in my time at the Daily Bruin, especially when I was in leadership, especially one that so closely affected our campus. And we had to work with everybody on staff who were so wonderful to work with to come up with a game plan in the moment. But I think it was really challenging because it was a lot of thinking on our feet, and it was also looking at situations that could have been, and in cases were, dangerous and violent, and thinking about how to best provide news to our campus while also keeping our staff safe in the midst of their coverage.
As a sports reporter, challenging pieces are a lot different for us than it would be for, like our news team when it comes to coverage. I think for me, the challenges have come in just the pace of which stories happen and making sure that even no matter what the story is, we're still presenting everything in a fair and balanced way. After Coach Chip Kelly left UCLA football, and there was just a flurry of activity for a 4 or 5 day span of what the UCLA athletics was doing and how they were going about the hiring process for a new football coach. And that whole span of a few days was challenging in the sense that it was just a lot of activity going on and a lot of things to keep track of and stories to write, and making sure that we were still being fair and accurate in our coverage while also getting things out in a timely manner.
The most challenging piece that I've done was the photo gallery that we did on the sweep and the attack on the pro-Palestine encampment up in Royce Quad. It was a lot to handle. I was out there the night of the attack and then the night of the sweep as well, and then after that we had print because it was Thursday night, so we had to go to our print paper and get everything together, and we thought it would be nice to have a photo gallery in that paper. It was just a lot to really revisit those photos as well, kind of come to terms with what happens.
I've worked on a lot of challenging pieces, especially when I was in upper management last year. I think a really challenging experience I had was when I was a baseball writer my freshman year, and there were assistant editor applications coming out for sports, and I had applied, and I was covering the baseball game that weekend, and there was this game where it was like a walk-off balk or something, and there was this big comeback, and I was the one there writing the story, and I knew that it had to be a fun lead, and I was really stressed about making the story interesting and making it good because I wanted my application to look good and all of that. And I turned the story in, and like every single paragraph had been replaced by comments and edits and like completely rewritten. So it was just challenging to kind of reassure myself that it would be okay that my whole story got rewritten and that I was still able to kind of keep writing and be an editor and guide other people.
I think from those obstacles I really learned how to be flexible and resourceful. In those instances, things that were happening weren't going according to what I would have wanted or planned for. And so I was really learning to think on my feet and in the moment make a decision and say, we should do this or we should do that.
I think a biggest obstacle for me has just been in my own personal growth of learning to trust myself and also trust the people around me. I feel like sometimes I would turn into a little bit of a control freak and want to make sure that I'm still trusting the people around me to do their jobs well.
I guess I just sort of learned that not every story is going to be perfect, and also that every sports story doesn't have to be every single detail. I think it kind of helped me be more creative with my writing.
Over these last 4 years, I think I've definitely really come to understand what it really means to be a journalist and to be a student journalist as well. And like I said earlier, just to recognize the impact of your work.
But also don't be afraid to lean on other people. I know there's been a lot of times this year where things happen and things get hard sometimes, and you have to lean on the people around you because you really are all working together to make the best paper that you can. Trust yourself, but don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to rely on other people.
Just being able to, on the fly, think of all these different possibilities of choices you can make is something that you'll learn a lot as a journalist, and it takes time to get used to that, but it's something you'll be really grateful that you've developed as a skill.
Make sure you're still having fun and still being happy doing what you like, what you came here to do. You came here to write, you came here to illustrate, photograph, take videos.
It's okay to like ask for feedback and keep growing, and also just keep your confidence up, keep working and growing. Eventually you'll get to a place where you feel better about your writing.
I think it's helped me become a better writer and communicator, and I think it's shown me just the impact of staying up to date on your current events in your community.